Ça fait du temps, c'est bon. Alors petite intro déjà qui me fait marrer, ça m'a fait penser à ce qui se passe juste avant quand il y a un Benny Hill qui va passer. Il y a la petite présentation avant de Thames là, qui apparaît et c'est exactement la même façon quoi. Bref, donc on est sur Horace, un jeu que je ne connaissais pas, qui a été gratuit sur l'Epic Game Store il y a peu là. C'est un jeu sorti donc, en 2019, juillet 2019. Un jeu de plateforme fait par deux personnes, Paul Hellman et Sean Scapelhorn. Et donc ça a été édité par 505 Games. Un jeu de plateforme, mais également avec beaucoup de gameplay. Un gros mélange de gameplay. Bref, ce jeu il a été vraiment très bien noté, alors que j'en ai entendu jamais parler de ce jeu. Je suis assez étonné. Il y a une histoire derrière, il va y avoir beaucoup de parlotte au début. Ouais, la musique déjà, il y a beaucoup de musique de ce style. Mélange 8 bits. Enfin, déjà, ça envoie. Vous allez voir aussi au niveau des graphismes, c'est très pixel art. Et souvent, ça envoie bien, quoi. Bref, je sais pas, on dirait une petite perle quand même. Il y a quelque chose derrière ce jeu. J'étais très intrigué. Et voilà, je voulais vous montrer le début. Donc, je vais prendre un nouveau chapitre. Est-ce que je peux faire ça? Ouais. Et je vais me taire, je vous laisse l'intro. Donc voilà, on va jouer ce personnage, qui est en fait un robot. On va dire que c'est une espèce de 6PO quoi. Et apparemment c'est bourré de références. Donc ça risque d'être assez amusant quoi. Ouais, c'est quand même assez gros pixels là. Et j'aime beaucoup ces musiques avec des vrais instruments et des sons 8 bits. Ça mélange quoi. Voilà, Horace. Merde, bah oui, faut appuyer sur aucun bouton. C'est un peu Chucky, ouais, c'est vrai. Ça y fait penser. Encore une musique là. Bon, ils ont l'air louches eux. Voilà, là on va commencer. Donc il y a un petit tuto. Gauche. Gauche, droite, bas. Haut, voilà. Alors vous inquiétez pas, il va pas marcher tout le temps comme ça. Sinon c'est l'enfer quoi.
And so, I was born. The first people I remember seeing were the old man, the old lady, and their daughter, Heather. After they'd said hello, the old man powered me down so he could install some software. I could tell they were nice people. The old man didn't give me a silly voice or stupid personality. And the old lady didn't dress me like a clown. Although for some reason, Heather really didn't like me. Once I'd had time to get used to walking, the old man asked me to dash from one end of the room to the other.
Ah, donc là on nous explique, c'est un tuto hein, le début. Et vous voyez que c'est beau, graphiquement je trouve ça classe quoi. Enfin, est-ce qu'on peut aller n'importe où? J'aime bien le vieux son là, quand on saute. Alors les plateformes en dessous de moi, on dirait les poutres de Donkey Kong. J'ai pensé à ça. C'est quoi ça? Je sais pas trop.
Next, the old man spent a couple of hours building some wooden platforms. He said he wanted me to jump up them, but I must admit, I was scared. It wasn't until I saw Heather and her mother happily climbing up them that I decided it might be okay.
Ouais, je sais pas, il y a quelque chose quoi, je trouve ça cool. Ah voilà, là on nous apprend le saut cette fois. On passe les plateformes. Une sorte de mise en scène. Enfin, c'est sympa quoi. Ça détend.
He told me to try to reach the other end of the room without touching the floor. Heather said the floor's made of lava, but when I smiled at her, she just frowned and looked away. The old lady arranged some pillows and blankets. She said it was in case I fell, but I think she just wanted it to look more like lava.
Salut Doggy Dog. Enfin Dog. Côté Adam Smiley, un petit peu peut-être. Ah merde putain. Fallait sauter. Heureusement que... Merde putain. Heureusement qu'il y a les oreillers. Ou de la lave. Allez, j'arrête mes conneries là. Putain, il saute bien quand même.
When I reached the other side, the old man just smiled and said, "That'll do, for now."
Un peu fester. Après, je l'ai toujours pas vu le film, hein, mais je vois un peu les persos quoi. Little Pony.
A couple of days after those first lessons, the family had a big meal, and I was introduced to everyone else. The professor was the old man's brother. He was very quiet, and always seemed to just kind of stare at me. He had lived with the old man for 5 years. The house was so huge they barely saw each other. He preferred instead to stay in his room, leaving everything up to his butler, Mr. Deck, as he insisted everyone call him, although the professor always called him Anton. For a while, he called me the yellow bastard, but the old man made him stop, as he
C'est bien
thought
aussi
it
la voix un peu
sounded
robotique.
racist.
C'est bien fait quoi.
Mr. Silton was the old man's driver. Before he worked here, he'd gotten in with some bad people and was the driver in a post office robbery, although it all went wrong for some reason. Mr. Silton showed me a video of his band. I'm sure some people must like it, but I just found it terrifying. Then there was Alice. She was the cook. She was a nice old lady.
Là, il présente un peu
When
tout le
she
monde.
was younger, she had been a TV chef. Then, years later, she had a small part in Coronation Street. Mr. Silton said, before she worked for the old man, Alice was quite a hoarder. She kept old newspapers and bicycles, and something about a poo in a shoebox. The next morning, the old man gathered everyone together to show them what I was capable of. "What else does he do?" asked Mr. Silton. The old man smiled. "He can help around the house." "Could he help me with my newspaper collecting?" asked Alice. "I'm not sure that's a good idea," said the old lady, "but he can do all sorts of jobs." "Yeah," said Mr. Silton, "shove a stick up his ass and he can do Deck's job." Now, said the old man, "we have company," pointing to some important-looking people. 2 large men, both called Gary, set up what the old man referred to as lasers. He said again, I should try to get from one end of the room to the other, but I shouldn't be worried, as I had a special chip which meant no matter how damaged I was, I couldn't die. He said it was like infinite lives in a video game. But when he realized I didn't understand, he said he would explain another time.
Voilà. Toujours le tuto, hein. Donc là, pour éviter les lasers.
Everybody clapped, except the important-looking men. Not exactly a cold, calculated killer, is it? Said the man in black. The man in grey laughed. What kind of artificial intelligence was that? He asked. Move right, unless there's something in the way. Okay, okay, said the old man. He turned to me and whispered, they're going to make it quite a bit tougher. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
Bouche. Oh putain. Faut pas oublier de se baisser là. Ça fait vraiment ton King Kong, hein. Enfin je sais pas. J'ai vraiment pensé à ça, ces plateformes. Décor comme Naruto aussi.
The old man smiled. Now, there's no need to look so glum, he said. I'm still happy with everything you've done today. So this time, I was determined to do him proud.
Oh putain. Je l'ai pas vu arriver le truc. Voilà, vie infinie. Le petit zoom quand même de la mort. Ça passe en dessous. Ouais, c'est bon. Un petit saut là, attention, si je saute trop haut, je me cogne.
The old man's friends actually seemed quite happy when I made it through. We might have a winner after all, said the man in black. It's no Killbot 3000, but you can almost see the fire in its eyes. A couple of days later, the old lady said she had a surprise for me, my own room. She also wanted to play me some music. I wasn't sure after what Mr. Silton had shown me. As if music wasn't amazing enough, the old lady then bought me a television set. I couldn't believe what I saw. I watched everything I could. Comedy, drama, horror, sci-fi. Anything anyone wanted to watch I would happily watch with them. Then one day, the old man set up a small box. He plugged some cables into the television and said, "This is what I meant when I said video games." I played games at every chance I could. I took on everyone.
Ah oui, on reconnaît toutes les consoles là à gauche. Super NES là. Il y avait la Master System avant. C'est peut-être pas la Sonic ça. Là c'est la PS2. Enfin PS2 avec du Pong. Hein. Alors par contre je m'étais arrêté là. Moi sur la découverte. J'avais vu qu'il y avait ça. J'ai un peu joué mais je suis pas allé plus loin. Parce que là donc on va jouer au Pong. Avec Vieux Man. Il faut marquer 3 fois. Voilà, donc c'est un gameplay différent encore. Enfin, on va faire plein de jeux différents. Donc là, bon, évidemment, c'est quand même le plus basique, le Pong. Mais il y aura d'autres jeux plus intéressants, évidemment. Ah, c'est le début, puis après, il découvrira d'autres trucs plus sympas, quand même. Donc là, je connais pas. Là.
Her mum and dad had bought her a camera and arranged a day out by the sea so that Heather could take some photos, although I really don't think she wanted any pictures of me. When the old man asked the professor if he wanted to go, he frowned and said, "I can't believe you want to spend time with that thing. It could destroy the world." I wasn't sure what he meant, but the old man just smiled and said, "That's what you said about the Game Boy." Anton, how
Ils
about
disent la Game
you?
Boy là.
I don't think so, said Mr. Deck. The last time I got in that car, Barry crashed us into a branch of Woolworths. I never would have gone into Woolworths of my own accord. The old man explained that the car was old and the brakes had failed, but Mr. Deck was having none of it. So Mr. Silton drove, and Alice came along for the fresh air. I enjoyed being outside. Although, the old lady kept telling me to be careful of the rickety old walkways. It felt like she was telling me off, but I think she was just concerned.
Ah, je vais peut-être l'avoir ce chapeau là. Ça y est, sur la jaquette.
As the old man and I stood on the cliff tops, I could see something in the distance. I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked the old man. He said it was a battleship that had sunk in the 1940s. But he looked so sad when he spoke about war. I didn't see what happened, but the metal platform Heather was climbing on had collapsed. She was safe, even if the rocks she was on looked very dangerous. The tide was rising, and we didn't know how long the Coast Guard was going to be, so I offered to climb down and get her. The old man agreed, but said I should be careful, as Heather doesn't have infinite lives, like I do.
Ok, alors, ça se passait comment là? Putain merde, ça s'écroule? Ah, merde. Putain, c'est quand même joli hein. Pour ça, je suis quand même surpris, putain, c'est que 2 gars qui ont fait ce jeu, enfin je sais pas. Le graphiste, putain il est assuré quoi. Il devait avoir un peu d'aide quand même. Ok.
Heather was unconscious, and her leg was broken, so I picked her up as gently as I could. I decided it would be best if I didn't run the rest of the way.
Ouais, je peux pas courir, ok. Putain, mais je passe, hein. Ah ouais, mais avec ces sauts de fou là. Bon, après, on se demande pourquoi il y a des étincelles là. On va chercher, hein, c'est un jeu vidéo. Merde. Putain.
An ambulance had arrived by the time I had made it back to the cliff top. The medics made sure Heather was okay, and then took her off to hospital. A few days later, we all went to see how she was doing. She was fine, but would have to wear the cast for a couple of months.
Bon bah on s'entend mieux.
Once Heather got to know me, we became good friends. We enjoyed the same films and TV. She was also annoyingly good at some of my favorite games. After a while, she became very interested in how I worked. Soon she knew as much about me as the old man did, if not more. We spent the next couple of months visiting other countries, as when it came to teaching me things, the old man always liked to pick interesting locations. He had explained the basics of mathematics to me at the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Taught me history in the dead of night, surrounded by mysterious giant stones. and even showed me science in action high up in a hot air balloon. This is why I was surprised when the old man took me to a restaurant. It was nice, but it seemed very somber compared to the previous grand locations. He said he just wanted to chat, and this was nice and quiet. Plus it was his favorite place to eat. We talked about life, the universe, Douglas Adams, everything really. When I asked him why were we here, why did we exist, he just smiled and said, life is like a game, just don't expect to be finished anytime soon. When I looked puzzled, he said, well, everyone should have a purpose. So I asked him, what's my purpose? He thought for a bit, then said, so you want to be a real boy? Which just confused me even more. Eventually the old man said, for now, I want you to help clean things around the house. I must have looked unimpressed, as he then said, okay, I want you to clean 1,000,000 things. It didn't sound like the meaning of life, but I suppose you've got to start somewhere.
Ouais. Chapitre 2. Découvrir ma vocation. Alors je vais peut-être faire le chapitre 2 et je m'arrêterai là pour la découverte.
The next day, the old man said he wanted to install some more software, so he powered me down. When I came to, he said Mr. Silton had a joke for me, and that I should pull his finger. I don't think I got the joke, so the old man powered me down again. This time when I pulled Mr. Silton's finger, I got the joke, but it wasn't very funny. The old man then explained that he had installed a special chip which allowed me to clean away anything that was broken. He said it also tells me how many things are nearby, and how many smaller things are in a bigger thing. It all sounded very complicated, but he said all I really had to do was pause, and it would bring up all the information I needed. He then said he wanted me to find and clean all of the items in the room. He told me there would be some chains to climb, but that would be nice and easy, as I just had to press up. He then finished by saying, when I had collected all the items, I should come back here.
C'est bien expliqué là. Ah merde. Tellement d'inactivité que ma manette c'est déco. Sauf que j'arrive pas à la relancer. Putain, mais à chaque jeu un problème. Attendez, c'est peut-être parce que j'ai plus de batterie. Putain, où est le câble ? Putain, j'arrive pas à le choper. Voilà, ah, putain. Compliqué, hein. C'est bon. J'avais plus de batterie en fait de la manette. Alors faut que je récupère plein de trucs et si je fais start, voilà, on peut voir les objets. 126, 128, putain, j'arrive plus à lire. Putain, par contre, ça peut être tout et n'importe quoi alors. D'accord. On peut également éclater les poubelles. Alors je sais pas trop où on va en venir hein, dans ce jeu. J'avoue que c'est assez curieux. C'est bien mis en place quoi. J'aime bien quoi. Est-ce qu'il y a vous sauter dessus là pour les ouvrir? Ah non, faut rester longtemps dessus pour que ce soit pris en compte. Attends. Parfois, putain merde, je vais... je vais même pas regarder ça quoi. C'est juste de comprendre pourquoi j'arrive pas à les prendre du premier coup. D'accord. Oh merde, je Je crois que j'allais rebondir sur la voiture. On va passer là, là. Je suis à combien, là? Hein? 851? Non. J'ai jamais ramassé 851... 906... 956... Comment c'est calculé, là, ces conneries, en haut à droite, là? 9 objets ici. 3 utilisations de laser. En fait, je comprends pas. La voiture, ça va être bien, ça. Ah, ça grossit. 1000 objets récupérés. Et comment c'est compté? 7 objets ici, je comprends pas. Bon, attends, vas-y. Non, il y en a d'autres? Les poubelles doivent donner plus. Alors, c'est quoi les 7 objets ici? C'est ça que je comprends pas. Il y a 2 compteurs différents, quoi. Putain. Où est-ce que j'ai raté? Peut-être là, là? Non. 7 différents. Ah, tu crois? Là, c'était 2 pareils, là. Ça fait... Il me reste 5. Attends, ça, je l'ai déjà fait. Et là. Putain, il s'est pas accroché, ce con. Il y a un ballon de basket coincé là, derrière. Petit détail. Ah, c'est bizarre, hein. Par contre, où est les 5 autres? Ou alors peut-être que c'est bon là. Parce que là, à moins qu'on puisse. Bon, faut que je saute sur un truc là, particulier. Y'a rien là. Ça là? Non. Je vais peut-être pas aller. Attends, l'ordi. Ah là, je l'avais pas fait ça. Ok. Donc c'était ça qui me manquait. Mais en fait c'est... Ouais non, c'est 5... Enfin c'est des objets différents. On va dire physiquement qu'on voit. Par exemple la poubelle là-haut c'était un objet mais il y en avait 50 dedans. Ça c'est pas compté quoi. Mais c'est quand même bizarre, je sais pas pourquoi ils ont fait ça comme ça. C'est pas clair.
The old man said he was worried that Alice had been hoarding again. She had filled up a small barn with old bicycles and newspapers. Heather said this would be a perfect chance to properly test my new powers. The old man thought for a second, then said, using the steptoe chip, I should find and clean at least 300 things.
J'espère qu'il n'y a pas tout le temps des trucs comme ça.
When we explained to Alice what we wanted to do, she seemed scared. But after the old lady kindly explained that, well, the barn was starting to smell, she said it would be okay. One last thing, said the old man. If you want to use a door, just push up. When I was about to enter the old barn, Mr. Silton said he had seen some mushrooms growing inside. He asked me to give him any that I found. He then winked, but I wasn't sure why.
Puis on va encore ramasser des choses. Putain, non, la musique. Merde. Ah putain, j'aime pas l'eau alors. Ah, c'est très intriguant. C'est pour ça, je pense qu'il est pas mal quoi. C'est assez curieux quoi. C'est super joli. Bon après, il y aura pas que des quêtes comme ça où il faut ramasser des objets. Sinon ça va devenir l'ennui. Je peux aller là? Non, je vais prendre le truc. Alors là, ici 27. On va trouver. Faut que je trouve des champignons aussi. Combo de 17 objets. Merde. Bah ouais, il y a plein de gameplay. En fait, j'ai vu le trailer et c'est clair qu'il y a beaucoup de gameplay différents. Ah, j'avais trouvé les champignons. Alors, référence à Mario, je sais pas. Il y a une petite musique, mais j'ai pas reconnu forcément le thème. Tiens, il y a un. C'est pas. Une petite musique. J'ai tout bu. Faut aller là aussi. Bah. Merde, faudrait que je fasse un truc spécial là après. Attends, je saute ça. Ah merde, non mais... C'est super. C'est quoi cette fontaine là? Je pensais qu'il fallait retourner les voir après. Ah, il y a une info que j'ai loupée alors. Putain, j'ai pas été attentif. Je sais pas ce qu'il m'a demandé d'autre. Voilà. Voilà. Pas vu qu'il y avait une autre porte. Mais c'est-à-dire que le compteur il dit n'importe... 18 objets ici. Ah putain, mais c'est sur l'écran. Ok, bah oui, le ici, ouais. Oh là là. Faut tout m'expliquer, moi. Non. Là, y a pas d'autre porte, là. Là, j'ai tout, là. Ah, je sais pas. Je pense que c'est bon, là.
The old man was very happy with everything that I had cleaned, but I think Mr. Silton was even more happy with his mushrooms.
Ça serait bien qu'on voit un autre gameplay, là.
It wasn't the days getting shorter, or the evenings getting colder. It was the falling leaves that really made me feel sad. As we watched the trees blowing in the breeze, the old lady said, "The leaves must fall before the blossom comes." She had already explained the seasons to me, so for once, I actually understood. But it didn't make me feel any better. The old lady obviously had enough of my moping, and said, "Right, next week we're going to have a party." For some reason she insisted that we were all going to wear costumes. Heather was very excited and said, "I've got some perfect ideas."
Oh, énorme. Halloween. Ah bah oui. Putain, je vais me faire striker. C'est pas exactement la même musique, mais quand même.
It was terrifying. Everyone was dressed like someone else. I think I was meant to be some kind of pumpkin, as
c'est tout gentil, en fait.
kept shouting, "It's the great pumpkin." Still, at least Mr. Silton was having fun telling everyone his joke. And I suppose Heather's costume was quite flattering. After what seemed like forever, everybody left, and things got back to normal. Heather was allowed to watch a scary film before she went to bed, but I had to help Alice and Mr. Deck clean up.
Encore.
I wasn't happy about this, but the old man said if I was quick, then I could watch the end of the film with them.
Bon, on va torcher ça alors.
Alice was
j'aimerais une autre mission,
vacuuming,
quand même.
and Mr. Deck was taking down the decorations, so I thought I should clean up the plates and glasses.
Heureusement que c'est en surbrillance, les choses à ramasser. Putain, par contre, c'est planqué derrière les piliers, quoi.
The ear-splitting sound was the fire alarm. As usual, Mr. Deck blamed Mr. Silton, saying he was probably smoking one of his jazz cigarettes. But then the professor appeared. He said that there was something burning in the kitchen. Alice looked confused, saying that she hadn't cooked anything since the morning. We were all surprised when Mr. Deck opened the oven. Inside was a large black cloak and a slightly burnt pair of men's underwear. Suddenly the old lady burst in. She looked terrified. She kept shouting, "There's someone on the roof." When we went outside, it slowly became obvious that it was Mr. Silton. He was completely naked and playing his guitar. He shouted down, "When I finish this song, I'm going to fly." The old lady said, "Oh my God, I know this one, there's only about 30 seconds left." The old man then quickly turned to me and said, "You know what to do."
Non. Non, non, je sais pas quoi faire. Je me casse. Ah, putain, faut que j'aille le sauver. Alors d'accord, c'est un parcours de combattant. Et la partie en bas, c'est la durée. J'ai ce temps. Merde. J'ai ce temps pour le sauver. Putain, mais c'est long. Ah, des ressorts. Je le saute, ça? Ah oui.
By the time I had made it up to the roof, Mr. Silton was beside the edge. I tried to calm him down, but he was acting even more bizarre than usual.
Ah oui, il est complètement pété. Les champignons, quoi.
After an hour or so, Mr. Silton was fine. He said he had eaten some bad magic mushrooms. Part of me wondered why he hadn't doubled in size. Still, he was soon laughing and joking with the paramedics. One of them said he looked like the world's worst clown. I don't think Mr. Silton liked that. So he told his own joke. But
Ouais,
that
c'est
just
clair.
made the other paramedic call him Marshmallow Marceau. I don't think he liked that either. But at least he was still in one piece.
Oula. What the fuck? Ah non, pas un FF.
A month or so later, Heather and I were playing
Ça
video
Adventure.
games.
Putain, énorme. Ah oui,
The
d'accord.
old man said he wanted me to come outside.
Les gilets jaunes,
He
ouais.
said it had been
C'est vrai.
years since I had arrived, so he had a present for me. He placed the teddy bear high up on a wooden platform. He then told me I should try to pick it up.
Ah oui, là je suis bloqué en fait. Ah, je sais pas, j'ai un bouton, je peux aller. Je peux pas y aller. Ah putain, il y a une petite animation quand même. Faut que je chope ça là.
Try as I might, I couldn't reach the teddy bear. However, I still don't understand what happened next.
Hein? Il a fait une attaque? Ouais, Massa. Et on est complètement éteint quoi. Bah, je m'y attendais un peu parce qu'il a le chapeau quoi. complètement verrouillé, quoi. Bien. Les jours passent. Oh, énorme. Putain, The End is Nigh. Mais pensez à ça maintenant. Ah, c'est particulier quand même, hein. Assez, ouais. Après, c'est joli. Alors, mode 7, là, putain, c'est l'Amiga, ça. Espèce arrière. Oh putain, attends. Outrun. Putain, c'est quoi ce bordel, quoi. Oh, je deviens aveugle.
Was I dead? Was this heaven? It sort of looked like the basement bathroom.
Si ses souvenirs, c'est tous à quoi il a joué, je sais pas.
I thought I might as well put them on. They were just the right size. The old man's hat fit me pretty good as well. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I wore it. Amazingly, the shoes allowed me to defy gravity. Or maybe it was the hat.
Ah non, avec la cravate là qui... Bon, je vais avancer un petit peu quand même. Je peux pas m'arrêter tout de suite. Je peux pas m'arrêter comme ça là. Faut que je comprenne un peu ce qui se passe. Alors déjà ça c'est pas mal, hein. Comme pouvoir quoi, ça s'est pété quoi. Ok, bon allez.
Part of the basement was flooded, and the stairs had collapsed. I
D'accord, donc là il y a de
didn't know
l'eau,
what
faut
was
pas...
going on, but I knew I wanted to get back upstairs. The gate was locked. I would need a key to open it.
Ça marche si je fais ça là? Attends, comment je pourrais tomber en étant à l'envers, comme ça? Oh, s'il te plaît, hein. Je reviens à la normale. Putain, c'est pas mal comme idée. Hop. Attends, j'ai pas vu le plafond. On voit rien. Ah oui, d'accord, c'est tout con. Oh, non.
How long had I been asleep? Months? Years? I was so confused. Where had everybody gone?
Ça va faire gerber ce truc.
I was slightly scared. This was the first time I had been outside on my own.
Putain, c'est beau quand même. Hein.
I knew what I had to do. This had to be my purpose. I would clean a million things, so I could become a real boy. Whatever that meant.
Faut que je collectionne 1 million d'objets? Vraiment? C'est pas cash, cette musique. Enfin, c'est une musique connue, ça. Je l'ai entendu sur maintes choses. Non, c'est pas cash. C'est une musique classique. Alors, je saurais pas. Je suis nul hein, là-dessus pour vous dire les titres. Non, non, c'est pas cash. Oui, il y a des ressemblances. Ça je veux bien. Mais je crois que de toute façon il n'y a que des musiques classiques dans ce jeu. Hein. Depuis tout à l'heure j'entends beaucoup de morceaux de classiques. Et ça en fait partie pour moi. Ouais, je peux dire des conneries, hein, mais c'est en tout cas c'est pas Kingdom Hearts. Alors attends, 357. En fait est-ce que c'est vraiment ça que je dois faire? Est-ce que j'ai besoin de tout collecter? Ah oui. C'est quoi qui gueule là? Attends. Hop. Quoi, c'est une fusée ça? C'est quoi ce truc énorme là? Je crois qu'il y a un il y a le feu là-bas, mais attends. Là je vais crever là si je vais dans la flotte. Attendez les gars. J'ai plus important à faire. Ah oui, il y a vraiment un incendie.
The screaming was coming from one of the bedrooms, but the stairs were blocked by a wall of fire.
Ah oui, putain, d'accord. Faut que je m'y fasse à ce gameplay.
The people screaming turned out to be a man, a woman, and their children. They were confused and terrified. At first the man looked like he was ready to fight me, but after I convinced them that I was there to help, he calmed down. There was no way I could carry them all at once, so the children went first.
Putain merde, je sens le sale truc. Ça marche avec les gosses? Ouais. Je vais me dépêcher. Plutôt, oh putain.
I dropped the children off at the front door and promised them that I would be back with their parents.
Merde. putain merde, il y a le feu devant leur porte. Là.
The fire was getting much worse, so the woman went next.
Oh, putain, le gars va laisser sa peau quoi. Oh non. Merde, désolé. Putain, bah elle a dévié à l'infini elle aussi alors.
Got to the front door. All the woman said was, "Thank you. Please hurry."
Ah putain. Ah. Peut-être moyen de le sauver. Ah, c'est ouvert. Oh merde.
By the time I managed to get back, the
Ah, il est
man was
inconscient.
unconscious. I had to pick him up quickly, as I could tell the house was going to collapse at any
Et
moment.
puis avec la fumée, laisse tomber quoi. Ah, je peux pas sauter, merde. D'accord. Ah oui, là. Bon, courir, je pouvais pas, mais sauter là, c'est fini. Je vais le cramer là. Putain, c'est super bien fait quand même. J'arrête pas de le dire.
I helped the family set up a tent so they had somewhere to stay. The kids were excited as they got to camp outside, but I think they knew they had just lost their home. When I mentioned my quest to clean a million things, the man said I should look through the rubble of the house, as they had no use for it. So, when everyone was making dinner, I looked through the wreckage. There wasn't anything I could clean, but to my astonishment, I found a TV set and a games console.
Ah ouais, une Super NES.
With a bit of fiddling, I was able to get them to work. So I sat playing games with the kids until their parents said it was bedtime. As we talked, the man opened a bottle of wine. I asked what had happened. Why was everything so ruined? The man looked at the woman, then the woman sighed and said, "There was a war." "Yes, a war," said the man. "One side of the planet attacked the other, and before we knew, it was all over. Everything gone. Everything destroyed." "Well, it's late," said the woman. "We should really get some sleep. Help yourself to anything you need, and we'll see you tomorrow."
Ouais, c'est
In
joyeux.
the morning, I asked the man if he knew what had caused the fire that had destroyed their house. The man smiled. "Crap old house, bad wiring, constant electrical surges from the unreliable power plant. Take your pick." He said, if we had the money, we'd move to the mainland. But we can barely feed ourselves, let alone buy a new house, so for now we're left here with the rest of the scum. But he did say I should head to the mainland, as there would be plenty there for me to clean, and a better quality of rubbish. The man said, before the war, my lovely wife used to be a fisherman. Fisherwoman? Fishing person? I used to catch fish, interrupted the woman, and, seeing as you saved us all from the fiery end, maybe you would like to borrow my boat to get to the mainland. I was a little scared, but then they gave me some captain software, and I was an old salty sea dog within minutes.
C'est bien ce genre de solution. Hein. Donc on a le bateau. C'est l'hôpital au fond. Ouais, donc là je vais revenir à l'ancienne maison.
took the fisherman's boat to the mainland.
Putain. Putain, ça me paraît fou qu'il soit que deux à avoir fait
The
ce jeu.
fisherman was right. Everything was in pieces. Everything had been destroyed. I docked the boat in some ruins. They must have once been a town.
Ah oui, d'accord, on est encore en mode rotation. Alors, on est tout le temps en fait. Putain, ça donne le tournis quand même. Hein. Alors, je pense que le but de notre robot, comme c'était dit, c'était de prendre les 1 million d'objets qui est en haut à droite. C'est le but ultime du jeu. Oh putain, j'ai fait le con. Ça revient pas. Il y a plein de trucs au fond là. Oh, je dois pouvoir aller dans l'eau à un moment donné. Bon, je suis obligé là. Bah ça passe. Non, ça passe, c'est bon. Bah c'est surtout que l'eau ça me fait exploser. Enfin, ça le faisait, voyons. Oh oui, ça me tue. Donc non, je peux pas nager tout de suite. Je pense qu'il y aura un programme ou une extension. Oula. Oh merde. Oh le truc, oh, c'est rattrapage quoi. Énorme. Mais c'est vrai qu'attends, je peux faire le con. Si je fais ça là. Ah. C'est la fin du jeu? Non, c'est bon. Ils y ont pensé quoi. Ouais, mode speedrun, allez hop. Ah merde, oui, bon, on va arrêter les conneries. J'ai eu un coup de peau. Ah ouais, je sens qu'il va y avoir des accidents avec ça. Au-dessus, en haut, il y avait rien. Je pourrais passer au-dessus pour choper les roues là. Attends, faut se mettre comme ça. Ok. Ah bah là je peux pas courir sur ce mur. Bien gêné, je sais pas ce que c'est à gauche là, il y a des têtes. Il y a des têtes de robots là comme le mien quoi. Bon, bah, je sais pas, on va passer de l'autre côté alors. Je sais pas trop où aller là. Pff. Attends si, par là. C'est quoi là? Putain, ça donne le tournis quand même. Hein. J'espère que ça va pour vous.
I was confronted by a lovable fat old dog. He almost looked pleased to see me.
Presque l'air content.
Suddenly, 3 men appeared holding large guns. Or at least 2 men and what looked to be a pregnant woman. Incredibly, it was Mr. Silton. I thought you'd been shut down, he said. I mean, it's been years. I'm not really sure what happened, I replied. I then told him about me cleaning a million things. He laughed and said, nothing changes. He then showed me into what was surprisingly a really nice house. Please excuse my husband, said the pregnant lady. I'm Edwina, but everyone calls me Eddie. I believe you know this idiot, and that's Preston. We've met, said the small man. It was me that delivered that thing, remember? All you used to deliver was weed, mumbled Mr. Silton as he put the dog dish on the floor. And I was there that night, when this twat was off his face on mushrooms. Thanks for letting me and the dog stay, by the way. Yeah, well, we like the dog, said Mrs. Silton. And I suppose I've got you to thank for us meeting. What were you giving Barry those dodgy magic mushrooms? She pulled out an old photograph. It was one that Heather had taken the night I had saved Mr. Silton.
Il y avait les gilets jaunes aussi.
It reminded me of everyone else, so I asked what had happened to them. Mr. Silton said Alice had a small place in the countryside. The professor had holed up in one of the old man's factories. Mr. Deck was, believe it or not, now a presenter on the only state television channel. And Heather and her mother lived on a government compound where they both
D'accord, tout le monde s'est séparé quoi.
I asked about the old man, surprised that Mr. Silton hadn't mentioned him. He's dead, said Mr. Silton. Sorry, I thought you knew. Anyway, said Mr. Preston, I thought you said that robot thing found the mushrooms for you, in that hoarder's manky old barn. Mr. Silton looked embarrassed. Well, said Mrs. Silton, I guess we've got you to thank for getting us together then. Time for bed I think, said Mr. Silton. Make yourself comfy, and we'll see you in the morning.
Je pense qu'on va rendre visite à tout le monde. Waouh. Ah, je joue là. Je me suis dit, putain, c'est beau, hein. Vache. Donc le robot peut rêver, quoi. C'est quoi si je fais ça? Attends. Bon, il m'appelle, hein. Je suis obligé. Il faut que j'appuie sur un bouton pour foncer, là. Je me mets en Super Saiyan, là, pour aller plus vite. Putain, mais il s'éloigne trop, là. Et je suis quoi, là? Ah non, c'est bon. Ok. Bon, là, je vais m'arrêter là, par contre. Donc, c'était un bon aperçu du jeu. Je sais pas combien il y a de chapitres en tout. Ouais. Est-ce que je peux m'arrêter là? Ouais, je pense que je vais m'arrêter là. Bon, c'est un peu brut, du coup, mais bon, c'était vraiment pour faire découvrir un peu le début. Je sais pas si je ferai la suite en vidéo. On verra, mais... Voilà, en tout cas, j'espère que ça vous a plu. Moi, je le trouve vraiment très très bon. Après, c'est un jeu à faire qu'une fois, hein, je pense. Hein. Ou alors, enfin, de ce que j'avais vu dans les options, on peut sauter les cinématiques, mais ils ne le conseillent pas lors de la première partie. Ce qui est normal pour comprendre l'histoire, quoi. Mais c'est sûr que si on veut y rejouer une deuxième fois, on n'a pas trop forcément envie de se retaper toutes les cinématiques. Donc c'est bien qu'ils aient mis l'option. Mais c'est très original, hein. Je comprends qu'il ait eu de bonnes notes, mais franchement, est-ce que... ceux qui regardent là encore là, est-ce que vous avez entendu parler de ce jeu, quoi, Horace? Moi, ça m'a rien dit du tout. Je l'ai découvert via l'Epic Game Store, et puis c'est Yana qui en a parlé récemment donc sur le Discord. Et bah voilà, je me suis dit tiens, c'est peut-être vraiment un bon jeu. Et voilà, j'avais commencé un peu, j'ai vu que c'était assez original, c'était beau, et du coup, ça m'a motivé à le montrer, quoi. Ok, bah écoutez, je vais passer sur la fin. Hop.